My life really has been with Campbell, the whole 80 years of it. But it really started with my grandmother and granddaddy who joined the Little Red Brick Church.
I've been going to this church since 2 years after I got married. That was in '73, so I've been going to the church a long time.
I'm actually the fourth generation of Hoffmans to go to Campbell. It started with my great-grandpa. When my grandpa was about 9 years old, the Methodist minister went to the hospital and happened to stop by my great-grandpa's room. And he talked to my great-grandpa and prayed with him. And great-grandpa was so impressed that this minister that wasn't his minister was like, oh, I'm going to take time out to sit with you. That once he got out of the hospital, he took the family to church. And then my grandpa grew up in the church. My dad grew up in the church along with his brother and sister. And then I've been here ever since.
I have been a member of Campbell since the early 70s.
And I came from the old church on Campbell and Division.
I have a lot of memories of that church and the move over here.
The red brick building was in the parking lot of the yellow brick building. The yellow brick building at the corner of National and Division is the one that was built and that my mother grew up in. And she decided there needed to be a class for young people. And she turned that into the Crusaders class. And then it just grew from there because all the young people that had children that would come, that's the class they went to.
And we walked through those doors. I did not know a single person. I can remember the adult class that I was led to, of which Mildred Lurvy was the teacher. We never left to go visit another church.
My mother taught Sunday school here and filled the very large shoes of Mildred Lurvy, who's another legendary leader in this church. Mildred taught Sunday school for...
She always used to give us gum when we were the acolytes.
But to fill the shoes of Mildred Lurvy was hard for anyone.
The old church we had, the choir was behind the ministers, and then the balcony was where people could actually go and sit. And that was where we always went and sat. The whole family would be up there, except Mom, who was in the choir. And I have very fond memories of being little and in the balcony, and I could look down on everyone. And I thought that was so cool. I was big stuff. I was probably 3, but I was big stuff then.
And I can remember in that same context that Michelle would be up there going, while the choir director was directing us.
I can remember a Sunday school class being up on the top floor and the kitchen was in the middle floor. And I was telling you this, I remember thinking that it was a shortcut or something, but I can remember going through the kitchen to get to Sunday school and back because there was a soda machine. But I can close my eyes and see that.
So we were in that church, we were in that church till 1985, and then we moved.
That church was kind of unique in that it had a walkway going between the classroom building and the sanctuary. When we sold it, we sold like the Assemblies of God moved into the classroom building, so we got kicked out of that. But they still had a class that was meeting in the walkway over the drive. I mean, it wasn't a street, it was just a drive. But I remember like being able to walk up there and walk across, and then we'd interrupt the class and I'd get in trouble. So we were just in the sanctuary portion, and then they took over the sanctuary portion. And that was like the first time I remember us being churchless. I mean, we had no building.
I do believe that this change and this move would not have gone as well as it did had we not had the leadership of a wonderful pastor whose name was Paul White.
And Paul White, who was our pastor at the time, made friends with the Presbyterian minister across the street. And that was where we were for what seemed like forever. I'm sure it wasn't that long, but when you're little, it seems like forever.
They were so accommodating.
We shared that church with them for a while this one was being finished.
We actually used the same rooms that they used for Sunday school.
Staggering Sunday school times, worship times, but they were so gracious. They really were, and it worked. Back then, the move and so forth, it was difficult for adult members. I mean, this was a vacant piece of ground where we are now.
The cow pasture.
Yeah, that's all it was.
You know, then this was Highway M. It wasn't really Republic Road. And it was kind of nothing was out here. So there was a lot of skepticism.
Obviously, it was the right decision.
When we bought this property, it had the old rundown barn out front that then we moved to the back and did like a whole revamp on it because it became an actual functional barn.
And we used the home that was there for the parsonage.
We built the diamond shape of the sanctuary first. And that's all that there was. I mean, it's kind of hard to think about our building now.
There was a member of our church, and he passed away a few years ago, Jack Hood, and he was very instrumental. He was an architect, designed this building.
I went to church camp, and at church camp, one of the things they told me is, oh, you go to the church in the ground. And I'm like, I go where? And like the whole entryway that we have now wasn't here. It was just the diamond with all of the ground built up around it. So apparently we had been nicknamed the church in the ground. And once I came home from church camp, I looked at the church and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're right. We are the church in the ground.
Actually, we were going to have to talk about VBS. I mean, the VBSs here were epic for probably 15 years.
Something on Facebook, and she was recalling some of the things we had done. I forgot some of those when the fire department had to be called because the fog machine set off the fire alarm one year at VBS.
The offices were where all of our classrooms were all the way around, and we fit everybody in this building until we didn't.
Until we finally expanded.
And we took the parsonage, and that became adult classes.
Yes.
And then we ended up building the first edition, which is the classroom wing, and we did the lower level classrooms. And then we kept growing, so then we finished the second level of classrooms out so that we could finally get to where we are now.
When I think about the church, I think about the church as just, they're always there for you.
You don't feel like you could survive outside of the connection you have with those people.
Like, I don't know where else I could go that I could talk to people about my great-grandpa, my grandpa, that outside of my immediate family that's going to know him, but I come here and these people actually know my family.
We have been away from Campbell for a few years, and it was really hard to walk back in the doors. But after walking back in the doors, and it wasn't hard because of the people, it wasn't hard because of the building, it was hard because of me. But walking back in the doors, it's like it's like just putting on that old jacket again, that old sweatshirt again. It's like it just feels good. It just feels comfortable. It feels like what it's supposed to feel like. That warm hug from your mom, it just feels like that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
This has become home. You know, the people have become family.
Really why we stayed, and we would definitely call it family. If you were a memory from our childhood, that was our family then. If you were a memory from when we were in our 40s, that is still family to us now.
With Jill Robbins, I used to teach kindergarten Sunday school together, and we'd always say, here's the church, here's the steeple, but inside are all the people. And that's what the church is.
We've done a lot of changes.
Yeah.
But it's all been good. And I think the next one will be too.
Personally, I've cried a lot of tears about losing this building because it holds such precious memories for us.
I'm sad to lose 4 years of history. I'm not going to lie about it. 4 generations. 4 generations is a long time.
Memories is something that cannot be taken away from anyone. I mean, we're going to hold these memories. Obviously, we've got a lot of them, but they're not going away. And we'll make new memories.
A couple of weeks ago, after church, I just all of a sudden felt a real peace about it and a real encouragement about it. And I can't tell you what made the difference. It was just like a light went on and I said, this is going to be good for us.
We're going to be all right because we're Campbell, and we've got determination, and we've got faith.
I'm so excited that maybe without being building poor, we can start being more active. We can start getting our people to participate, and we can be the hands and feet of God to our local community.
I wrote a poem, and I think this is probably pretty much tells the story. No matter the folks, no matter our name, seeking to find you, our mission's the same. Sharing minds and hearts, loving and caring for all, striving to be there to answer your call. Our faith journey, let our love shine through, that we show His light by what we say and do. And we can do that in any church. We can do that without a church. The church is not the building, it's the people.